Welcome to the Checker Chat. I'm Blake.
And I'm Justin.
And this week we're going to give you a recap of Miami and look forward to this next weekend at Martinsville.
Yes, sir. Good old
Paperclip.
Paperclip. Hot dogs, right?
Yeah.
The hot dogs. I was like, please tell me this is the hot dog track. I can't remember if it is or
Martinsville's
not.
the hot dog track to you.
The hot dog track.
Okay.
Honestly, they should re-nickname it the hot dog.
Yeah. It looks like a paperclip, though. I'll give them that.
It does, to be fair. The infield looks like a hot dog. I think that'd be really good marketing if they could get like an overhead shot of I'm about to adjust my mic if it gets weird. Sorry about that. If they had like an overhead shot and like I don't know how they would do it, but make it like a hot dog. It'd be funny.
One weekend out of the year, change it from the paperclip to the hot dog.
The hot dog, yeah. The hot dog race.
Oscar Mayer sponsors it. Or Ballpark.
Ballpark. The Nathan's hot dog.
Yeah, there you
500. Go. That'd be funny. But Blake, what do we got for news this week?
So, Austin Hill, it was announced he's going to get 5 Cup starts this year. He'll run Darlington, Chicago, Daytona, the Fall Bristol race, and the Fall Talladega race.
Yeah, so let's just throw Austin Hill into the
Why are we putting him
race.
at Chicago?
That too. That's another thing.
Super Speedway is fine. He's a Super Speedway merchant.
Yeah.
That's the only place he looks very competitive.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Just
Darlington, whatever. That I could see that. He's not terrible there. He does fine at the mile and a halfs and stuff, but like Chicago.
Yeah. That one doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Unless for some odd reason they're thinking about putting him in a Cup car full time soon. I don't know why you'd put him at Chicago.
But also, if they're going to put him in a Cup car full time, you would think he would be RCR going in. And RCR is already full.
Well, I mean, yeah, technically they could add a third car still.
That is true. If they did do a third car, that would be interesting for sure.
But like, also respectfully, how about we just work on the 2 cars we already have and not throw a third one in there?
Yeah, no, seriously. Can we please get Busch to have a decent week, please? Please. Please. I beg you. Speaking of Kyle Busch, after the race ends in Homestead, he puts up a thing. It's like, big announcement at 1851, which those of you that don't know, 1851 is 6:51 in military time. 18, number he ran at JGR. 51, his dirt number.
When he had the Truck Series team, the truck number.
Yeah, truck number 2. So he posts that, and I feel like everybody was like, oh, no.
Well, I mean, I saw everything speculation-wise from he's retiring to...
It's a throwback scheme.
Yeah, like there's going to be a throwback scheme. He's going to bring back Kyle Busch Motorsports, which felt weird because he just sold it to Spire like 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
And then...
him switching teams.
Yeah.
And going back to Joe Gibbs.
Or like, I even saw one where they're like, oh, he's just going to drop back down to the Truck Series. And I was like, why?
Yeah. No. That wasn't it at all. But he was announcing that him and Brexton were both running in the same race, which happened last night. And Kyle came, I almost said Busch came in third. And I'm like, that would have.
There's 2.
Who are we talking about? Kyle came in third, and Brexton came in 6th. So cool to see them like finish near each other.
Yeah.
You know,
race against each other.
Yeah.
Sneak peek to the Truck Series whenever Brexton turns like 18.
Yeah. Definitely. That'll be really cool to see. I'm excited about that. wonder how that'll turn out. Like, just you have him and Keelan Harvick, who are mainly the ones that you hear about that, like, oh, they're going to be the next ones and everything. And I mean,
and then now lately, Wyatt Miller.
Yeah, that's another one. Because he just won his first, was it late model?
Yeah, and his second start,
Mm-hmm.
and he's 14.
Yeah, that's
it's pretty good.
Yeah, the future of NASCAR is going to be a lot of fun and very interesting, because I feel like we're going to end up feeling like probably our dads do now, because they're like,
who are all these people out here?
Who are these people out here, and why do I sort of recognize their last names?
Yeah.
It's because it's everybody's kids. Yeah, because, I mean, if you think about it, you got Bill Elliott, Chase Elliott. You've got Ryan Blaney.
Dave Blaney. You got Harrison Burton, and you have Jeb Burton.
Mm-hmm. Which are they cousins or are they brothers?
Cousins.
Okay, I thought so. But yeah, no, it'll be cool to see, and just see how the careers end up comparing.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be pretty cool. But getting into Miami, Homestead, Miami continues to prove to be one of the absolute greatest racetracks that is on the circuit nowadays. Definitely it needs to be the championship race. From what I heard from this past week was that I think it's they're waiting for a few more things to happen before they officially make it there. But I've heard that it's going to be a rotating schedule starting in
26.
Homestead in 26.
Yeah.
And then going to Vegas, and then I think back to Phoenix the next year. It's kind of what I've heard.
Okay. I didn't hear the back to Phoenix part, but I did hear the first.
Yeah. I think that may have just been because I think all this sort of stemmed from was DBC this week.
Yeah.
Maybe they had said they wouldn't mind it going back to Phoenix for after we have a few years off of Phoenix.
Yeah. And I mean, Phoenix doesn't produce the greatest racing in the world, so it gets really stale having your championship there every year. But, like, if it's in a rotation, it probably won't feel as bad because I feel like a majority of fans are like, I don't like this track. This track robs us of a good champion, so you have that bias on the track too.
Yeah, no, that's true. And, I mean, the rotational, it'll be better for, instead of being like, oh, well, of course Penske wins every year because they're great at Phoenix. Like, you're not going to have that if it's rotating.
Right.
Because, I mean, you may see Larson win one in Homestead because he's really good there. You may see Christopher Bell win one in Vegas because he's really good there. You know.
I mean, Reddick at Homestead too.
Blaney at Homestead.
Yeah.
Logano at Vegas.
Yeah. But, I mean, like, putting it at a mile and a half, like a more, I guess, traditional mile and a half. Well, Phoenix is a mile, so. But, like, putting it at a mile and a half, these cars race good on them.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the best racing that we get from the next gen.
Yeah.
I mean,
because I feel like you can complain about something at a lot of the different track types, but at mile and a half, there's not really.
Yeah.
I mean, horsepower is across the board.
Yeah.
Like, like Kevin Harvick said about qualifying on a regular mile and a half and being flat out the whole time, never lifting. That's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
But, like, drafting tracks, it would be nice if we could figure out a way to not have fuel mileage play such a role in the race where everybody just says, okay, we're going to box in 2 or 3 wide, we're going to run 50% throttle, and nobody's going to pass anybody.
Yeah. We're just going to run parade laps, and it looks cool.
Yeah. I mean, which drafting tracks still put on great racing when they're not in fuel conservation mode and when they're actually going for it.
Yeah, no, I agree. But getting into trucks, Blake, I'm gonna let you take this at least this first one because I cannot pronounce this guy's name.
Okay. So, start the race, go into turn 1, and get your first caution. Gio Ruggiero, I believe is how you pronounce his last name.
Okay.
Gets loose kind of in a 4 wide battle, spins out and collects Ben Rhodes. And, I mean, didn't even make it through it. They didn't even make it to turn 2.
Yeah, no, it was in turn 1 this happened. And
it was just immediate.
I mean, you knew something was going to happen whenever they were like, you had Harvick and Logano and Keselowski up in the booth going, oh, they're 3 wide. Oh, they're 4 wide.
Yeah.
Like, it was...
Well, and, like, the way that the trucks react to, like, side drafts, the way they were talking about it at least sounded like it was a lot more temperamental, like, with snapping loose or getting tight, like, then Xfinity, then Cup cars. So, like, it made sense. And, I mean, plus you had, like, Ross Chastain start on the bottom, and you know he's probably going to take it 3, 4, maybe even 5 wide.
Yeah.
And
no, that's for sure.
You had fast trucks kind of sprinkled around, so it was probably going to fan out and be something.
So that was about really it when it comes to cautions in stage 1. Corey Heim wins stage 1. Are we surprised? No, we're not.
Kind of like the Larson and Heim show, stage 1, it felt like.
Yeah, that was something, because last week when we made picks, I talked about how I was like, oh, truck is going to be, Larson's going to win, but he's not going to absolutely massacre like Busch did in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I was right.
Right.
He didn't he led a lot.
Yeah.
He was always up there, but it wasn't like...
He didn't just get to the lead, check out, and never be seen again.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because out of the 3 series, he has the least experience in a truck.
Yeah, no, that's true. Because did he ever run truck full time, or did he just go straight Xfinity?
I think he did I think he pretty much just went straight Xfinity.
Okay.
I think he did some truck races here and there.
But not like how like Heim's doing now, or anything like that. So stage 2. Corey Heim wins stage 2.
Yeah. Also incident free. You go from lap 1, turn 1 wreck to clean racing for 2 stages pretty much.
And it was all really good racing.
Yeah.
I mean, all of it was. So Ross Chastain got up there and led for a little bit during stage 2. In stage 3. That's my bad. Kind of traded the lead back and forth with him and Corey Heim. And then on lap 90, Larson spins off of 2 from he hits Lane Riggs.
I think he got loose under him.
Yeah, that's kind of what it looked like.
Because he was doing the move we saw him pull in Xfinity and really Cup too, where he was going to send it in and just throw it down low and slide up and see if you were going to break or not. Like, if you were going to be like, oh, he's going to hit me, I need to, like, let off.
And
Lane Riggs did not
nope,
care.
Did not. Not at all. But in that, he only loses, I think it was like 3 or 4 spots.
Yeah. But, I mean, then he had to pit.
Yeah.
Get tires.
Pit and get tires. So, on the restart, Larson is 22nd. I think that was the exact place, somewhere around there.
It was in the 20s.
In the 20s. And by, I think it was around lap like 15 or so to go, or give or take, he'd already fought his way back up to 5th.
Yeah. was like 7 to 10 to go, he was in third.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, in my opinion, if Heim's truck doesn't start shutting off,
Larson wouldn't have won.
Larson wouldn't have won that race. That's how he was able to win.
Because Larson did lead a good bit of laps, but like Heim dominated the race.
Oh yeah, I mean that's just kind of been Corey Heim's season this year in trucks. He's just kind of.
Well, I mean, I just like not that the truck series is just bad, but like he's just better than everybody.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I think it's at the point now where like there's no way he's not in a cup car next year.
Yeah. I'm curious because he's in 2311's development program.
Yeah.
If he is in a cup car,
they either have to boot Riley Herbst after 1 year,
which is a little bit of a wild statement.
Yeah. But also you look at results so far, it's not the most outlandish thought.
No, it's not.
Or they move on from Bubba Wallace because they can't add a fourth car anymore with the whole new charter stuff, and they're still in active ongoing lawsuit with NASCAR.
Yeah.
So I mean, it would either be because they're not getting rid of Reddick.
Yeah, no. But the thing is, though, is that this season, Bubba has ran pretty decent. I mean, for the most part.
I mean, so most of his 2311 career, it's felt like he has similar speed to Reddick. You could almost 50-50 split that. Like some tracks he's slower, some tracks he's right on with Reddick. Mm-hmm. But like I feel like most of his 2311 career, he's had speed, shown a glimpse in the race. Something happens, and he does not get a finish based off the car's speed. And this year, I think he's having a little more luck with getting some of the which, don't get me wrong, he still had bad luck this year with some finishes.
Yeah. But I mean, you think about it like, I mean, just this week he has a top 5 finish.
Yeah.
He
outran Reddick, which I don't think anybody thought that was going to happen.
He won one of the duels. So, I mean, and I want to say all the other tracks he's at least finished top 15. I think majority of them.
Let me see if that's something I can pull up quickly. But I mean, the only thing I could see with like the argument of if they were to get rid of Bubba for him would just be if they don't have the belief that he's going to ever be able to bring them a championship, maybe. Yeah. Because, like, overall right now, wins are so important with the format. Yeah. And he hasn't won very much.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's see. So, he won his duel. Mm-hmm. He finished 29th at Daytona.
Okay, bad one.
9th at Atlanta.
Good one.
20th at Coda.
Bad one.
29th at Phoenix.
Bad one.
28th at Vegas.
Okay, never mind.
And
he's had
third at Homestead. So
he's had two good finishes this season.
Outside the duel. And then the Bowman Grave race, he finished 5th.
Okay.
So the Clash. I mean, not overall the season you want.
Yeah.
But then you still also look back and you're like, well, Riley Herbst has done what?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, what I'm curious to see, like, what are the odds of 2311 either buying or partnering with an Xfinity team?
To get Corey Heim an Xfinity?
Get him an Xfinity, or if they see that, hey, we jumped the gun with Riley Herbst a little bit, but we think that Heim's ready for Cup, they put Herbst back in Xfinity and put Heim in Cup. But the only thing is like, are you just going to have a repeat of Riley Herbst? Are you going to, when Heim comes to Cup?
Yeah. I mean, I think if it was the Xfinity route, they'd either have to work something out with Joe Gibbs, or they'd have to
Yeah.
race with Sam Hunt Racing like Corey Haim's doing this year on some limited starts.
That's true. I could see that.
I don't know. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Or is there anybody at Joe Gibbs that he could take their spot?
I know one, but
it'll never happen.
It'll never happen because
nepotism.
Anyways, so back to the truck race and everything. So Larson ends up passing Lane Riggs for the win at 2 to go. And he wins the race. So Larson wins race number 1, and the Xfinity fastest lap went to Ross Chastain. So that negates that basically.
Pretty much.
Yippee, Florida man. Yeah. I don't know who it was. I think it was who's the Mike Joy, older guy in the booth.
Yeah.
Referred to Ross Chastain as Florida man during the Cup race, and I thought that was hilarious. Keep doing it. I think it's funny. Because if Florida man drove NASCAR,
he'd probably have a Busch Light car.
Yeah, he'd have a Busch Light car. It would be Ross Chastain. 100% would be Ross Chastain.
Did you see with the drivers only broadcast? So Hocevar was a pit reporter.
Oh my gosh, Hocevar interviewing Ross Chastain. Yeah. He's like, my biggest relief tonight is that you have a microphone in your hand and not a steering wheel. And Hocevar's like,
what do I say? What can I
great
say
race.
Something?
Like, that was hilarious. Like, the drivers only broadcast is a really good idea. I like it. I liked the drivers that they used. Like Cindric went up and interviewed a fan up in the stands and stuff, which was cool. And like, I think they said, they're like, oh yeah, the requirement to be a pit reporter tonight is to be tall.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
and then they did like the height comparison thing between them, but like they do good when they do the drivers only broadcast now with like putting Cindric and Hocevar in the pits is probably better than putting them in the booth.
Oh yeah,
just personality wise for the way that the booth was set up.
I'll say this, that Cindric announced for Xfinity last year, and he did a good job. Like,
I think he's done some like ARCA races here and there too.
Okay, we're good. I was just making sure. Yeah, it's cool. Like, I think he's a good personality for the booth.
Yeah.
Them doing Kyle Busch last week.
Yeah.
Was good. Because they didn't have anyone this week in Xfinity that wasn't out of the normal, right?
Yeah, because last weekend for Vegas, Kligerman was out sports car racing.
Yeah.
So they got Busch to fill in.
This week, I think, I can't remember his name. Crap. What's his name?
Jamie McMurray?
Yes, Jamie McMurray. He's going to be out, but they're only going to have 2 broadcasters in the booth. So it's going to be Parker and... that's the only one I can remember is Parker's name.
I'm drawing a blank on that. Oh, my God. Yeah, I'm drawing a
Whatever
blank.
His name is, yeah.
He's great.
Yeah, no.
I don't...
I feel like every week on this podcast we sing the CW's praises.
Except for Phoenix.
Oh, yeah.
But that was just an Atlanta issue, not a CW issue.
Atlanta local CW. So that's about all we got on the truck race. So getting into Xfinity.
They make it more laps without wrecking.
Oh yeah, no, that's for sure. Not by much, but a decent bit.
Yeah.
So lap 17, Christian Eckes begins to smoke and take his car behind the wall. Did this actually bring out a caution?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Because if I remember right, it was like coming out of 2 or on the back stretch, so he had to like get down.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it was motor related, I'm pretty sure, so they wanted to make sure that there wasn't fluid or anything like that on the track.
we know about some blown engines around here, unfortunately.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. But yeah, so that brings out your first caution. Lap 30, Chris Wright spins from 35th in turn 4, bringing out the second caution. That was just a solo car incident, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Lap 37, I'll embarrass myself because I made Blake embarrass himself during the truck race part.
I feel like
pronouncing your name.
This one might be trickier.
Justin Bonsignor.
Bonsignor, something like that.
Spins off of turn 4, battling around 14th, but continues on with no damage. So this did not bring out a caution, or did?
It did because I mean he was pretty sideways.
Okay, my bad.
But
I did not watch. I watched probably the last 50 laps of the Xfinity race, because I was up in Atlanta celebrating my mom's birthday at a splatter paint place.
2 weeks in a row, words are hard.
Oh my God, you're right. That's so true. That's embarrassing. Yeah. I know this is the middle, and I should have said this at the beginning. Anyone that actually watches our podcast, I am so sorry about last week, and hopefully it doesn't happen this week. My phone is what does our video, and my phone died in the middle of it. It somehow came unplugged from. It's plugged up to a portable charger setup, so it doesn't lose the battery, but the charger came unplugged. Therefore, we had no video last week. So hopefully that stays on. Please stay on this week. I'm looking at my phone right now. If this ends up being an audio-only episode, just so you know, for those that are listening. Anyways, so Sammy Smith wins stage 1.
Which it got interesting at the end of stage 1 because the Justin Bonsignor caution came at a time where it was going to be a short run to the start of stage 2. And some people pitted and got tires, some people didn't, and it was Kyle Sieg who had fresher tires which there were others, but he was the most notable that had fresher tires than like everyone, and drove up past everybody and was leading. And then Sammy Smith ended up catching up. Oh, yeah, so it was lap 30 that Sieg put tires on, had fresher than everybody. So he had that, made his way up.
Okay.
Lap 37 came out. Sammy Smith got tires with others. They made their way up, and then he ended up barely getting around. I think off of 4 he made the pass over Kyle Sieg.
Gotcha. So, stage 2.
Nothing.
It's uneventful on the caution side, but Kyle Larson wins stage 2, trying to get the weekend sweep.
Which at this point, all signs were pointing towards it.
Yeah, all signs pointed to that till we get to the next caution. Lap 193, Taylor Gray spins down the front stretch from 10th and brings out a caution. And this brings out the patented Xfinity overtime restart.
Yeah. And at the point of this overtime, Larson had lapped up to 5th. So it was Jesse Love in 6th that got the free pass to. So the race pretty much ended with 6 cars on the lean lap.
Yeah. This
one was kind of it was pointing in the direction of what at least I expected of Larson in the Xfinity series, was to just get the lead and never look back.
Yeah. No, I mean I feel like that's what a lot of people thought was going to happen. You want to take the overtime restart?
Yeah. So on the overtime restart, Larson picked inside, and then Sam Mayer was the car behind him. Coming to green, Sam Mayer just mistimed going. he, like most drivers, you kind of have to anticipate when to go so you get a good launch, don't sack your lineup.
Yeah.
He went early, hit Larson pretty hard, and Larson couldn't get a good start.
Yeah, I mean, I think Larson said that his back wheels weren't even on the ground. So
he wasn't happy about it.
No, not at all. And I remember watching it on my phone, and I'm like, why is Larson in the middle lane, and he's the only car in the middle lane?
Yeah.
Middle lane, air quotes. Yeah, definitely just the overtime restart did not play out in his favor at all.
So then the lead battle no longer had Larson involved in it. It was between Allgaier and Austin Hill.
Yeah.
And thankfully, Allgaier pulled it out, which felt like a redemption moment for Phoenix, where he dominated Phoenix, didn't get the win. Today, or Saturday, Xfinity race, doesn't dominate, hangs around, it was always up there, was never the fastest, and then just capitalizes on overtime.
Yeah. Definitely, I'm glad to see Allgaier win. Allgaier is my favorite Xfinity driver at the moment.
Yeah.
But I will say this was Larson's race. I mean,
yeah.
From stage 2 onwards, it looked like it was going to be, 2 out of 3 at least at this point.
Yeah. In which, if you were a Larson fan, you felt good about it because after the truck race and his post-race interview, after winning, had said I felt like the hardest race of the weekend to win was going to be the truck race.
Yeah, definitely. Would have been cool to see him get the sweep. I mean, I'm not a Larson fan by any stretch of the imagination. Don't look at the back of my shirt and know this is a Hendrick shirt and has Larson on the back of it, but I have it mainly for Byron and Chase. Yeah, I mean, I think anytime that there's anyone who's a fan of NASCAR and there's a Cup driver who's driving in all 3 races, they're like, oh, it'd be cool if they won all 3.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's been done so little.
It's only ever been done by Kyle Busch, and it was twice.
Yeah,
both at Bristol.
I didn't know they both were at Bristol. Dang, that's crazy. But
which is where Larson's gonna try next this year.
That'd be crazy if he got it at Bristol.
Yeah, but in the one thing I thought it was kind of dumb in everyone's post-race interview was, so Larson was like, he hit me real bad. There's no way to go when your rear tires aren't on the ground. Then pan to every other driver on the lead lap that they interviewed. Well, I don't know why Larson went so late in the box.
Yeah.
Larson went so late in the box. Okay, that's why there's a restart zone.
Yeah.
He can go. I mean, he's not my favorite driver. I'm not just defending him, but he can go anywhere in that zone. Yeah. He's not brake checking the field like Logano did.
No, not at all.
He's within his rights. He goes late to catch everybody off guard.
Mm-hmm.
Just so happened that the person he caught off guard ruined his chance of winning.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, that's the thing also is I saw people saying oh, why is everybody so shocked that a lower level driver made a mistake? And I mean, good point. You know? I mean, but
I guess some of it is he's one of the better Xfinity drivers.
Yeah. No, for sure. It's interesting. But your winner, Justin Allgaier, also got the Xfinity fastest lap for that race. And that wraps up the Xfinity portion of the show. So on to Cup. Cup makes it a lot farther before caution comes out.
Pretty much the end of the first stage.
Yeah,
almost.
Pretty much into the first stage. I feel like I have said a lot on the other races.
All right.
You want to start this one? Cool.
So, lap 70, bell spins coming off of 4. on the front stretch. He was running about 15th. That brings out your first caution. I believe stage 1 was like 80 laps, so they almost made it the whole way before a caution came out, which he got damaged, but like it wasn't bad enough to end his day. He just got a little bit of nose damage.
Yeah.
Blaney goes on to win stage 1. Then on pit road, they kind of went. Well, it started 3 wide, but ended up 4 wide somehow. Never going to work on pit road.
No.
But when Barry's going to leave his box, he gets into the side of Larson, kind of turns himself, spins a little bit. Then Logano is coming out, makes it 4 wide, so he takes him and Logano both out. They spin backwards, and then even the booth, when they were driving back down pit road the wrong way to their stalls, even the booth was like, is that legal? Can you drive backwards down pit road?
Why is it the second week in a row that we're like, is that legal?
Yeah, which, I mean, it makes sense that it is because, like, they'll have people back up down pit road to back into their stall and make sure
retighten
that,
a tire.
Retighten and make sure it's all good.
Yeah.
But it's still weird.
Was it stage 1 when Chase got his penalty?
Stage 3.
Stage 3. Okay. Gotcha. I couldn't remember exactly when that was.
Yeah. And then I forget who it was in their pit. I want to say it was Denny.
Mm-hmm.
Could be wrong. But they're showing his pit stop. And then all of a sudden you just see a blur of a car spin out. And it ends up being Suarez trying to make it down onto pit road for his green flag stop. And luckily he spun onto pit road, got it cranked back up. Everything was good. So they didn't throw a caution in the middle of a pit cycle.
Yeah, because that would have just thrown a ginormous wrinkle into all of that.
Which that's one where I wouldn't have complained because it would have messed up Hamlin pretty good. But
very true.
I digress.
Very true.
That was kind of it for stage 2. Hamlin won stage 2, which, yay.
Question?
I guess no.
Yeah. No.
And then
the crowd goes mild.
Yeah. Then stage 3, Blaney blows a motor. How many other tracks do you think he's going to take this little Eras tour to of just blowing a motor?
I hope none.
It feels so. I mean, who else has blown a motor in Cup this year?
I don't think there's been anyone. Why is it that he has gone such a long time without blowing a motor?
Yeah.
Like, I want to say that I heard somewhere, I can't remember where it was. I mean, and I tried to find it. I couldn't find exactly how long it's been, but I want to say that it's like back to like Wood Brothers days. He hasn't blown a motor.
It's just weird.
Yeah. And why is it just him?
It has to be some sort of, I don't know. It has to be something tuning-wise or setup-wise.
Yeah. I mean, but this one was just like no warning at all.
Because like Phoenix, he was like, I'm blowing up.
He called it.
He
15
knew
laps
it was
was going to happen.
I'm down on power. I'm blowing up. It's going to go. Rides around. Then it blows. This one kind of did just feel like, wait, he didn't say anything about it. Why is he blowing up?
No, it was literally like, because at this point I was listening to this race on XM, and they're just, if you've ever listened to a race on the radio, they're calling it like it's the last lap, every single lap.
Yeah.
And they're just like talking. Oh my God. And I at the time I texted Blake and I was like, bruh. And he's like, what happened? They're at commercial. And I'm like, what a time to go to commercial. I was like, Blaney just blew up. And who was it that he smoke screened in Phoenix?
Byron, I believe.
I think when this happened,
was it Byron?
I think Byron was behind him again. I'm not 100% sure on that, but
that'd be an interesting little thing.
Yeah.
I mean, not like just for fun to know, but like, but then I don't know, like, why is it him 2 times in a year? He's the only
He's the only Roush motor that's blowing up twice.
Yeah, I don't. And like, I know with the next gen car they reuse motors more than they used to. Because like way back in the day, it was just like they would almost build a motor for every track. It felt like.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They need to kind of figure that out. I think.
No, definitely.
Sooner rather than later.
I mean, because you have another race that Blaney is dominating and doesn't have the finish to prove it.
Right.
I mean,
which has been his year so far.
Yeah, I mean, honestly. But I mean, it's.
He would have for sure got a very solid top 5 out of that. I think if it didn't blow.
I think that if it doesn't blow, that
top 3 for
it's
sure.
Gonna the end of that race wouldn't have been a Larson Bowman. It would have been Larson Blaney.
Yeah,
I think
because it probably would have been like. It would have been similar, but I think it would have been like Blaney and Bowman kind of running 1-2, and then here comes Larson.
Yeah. So towards the end, Larson's running down Bowman, and they come over the radio telling Bowman, hey, Larson's coming, try and change your line to kind of match his to block him.
Yeah.
And Larson is just so good at running the boards there.
Yeah.
And Bowman is not as good as Larson is at running the boards.
Right.
So Bowman gets into the wall a little bit, and it just gives Larson the perfect opportunity to pass him.
Which it was weird watching it because Bowman said it messed something up in the car when it got in the wall like that. But like you could tell that Larson was just running as hard as humanly possible, pushing the car past 100% because he'd already gotten to the wall. It felt like 3 times before Bowman got into it once.
I think
it was
Bowman got into it 10 times worse
and then stayed in it.
Yeah, because you saw it, like you could tell
it slowed the car.
And you had like smoke, or it may not have been smoke, but you could see like debris.
Yeah,
almost.
like the dust almost
the dust
flying
and everything.
up.
Yeah,
which at the end of it. Not only because Lily is a huge Bowman fan and also huge Larson hater, was I rooting for Bowman, but also like I would prefer Bowman to win over Larson.
Yeah, I mean I agree.
Bowman doesn't win as much. Like when he's up there and running that good and has a shot, you just want to see him seal the deal rather than. And here comes Larson out of nowhere! Yay! Like he's gonna win.
Yeah,
if he didn't win that, he's gonna win at some other point this year.
I mean, it's one of those like, there's so much talk all the time of, oh well, who's gonna be the next Hendrick driver? Oh, it's obviously gonna be Bowman's seat. Like,
and now Twitter says it's gonna be Chase's seat. They've swapped their aim from Bowman to Chase.
Which, to be fair, the way the season has fell this far, Chase has ran the least well out of all of them. Yeah.
But he's been, the thing is like, where I feel like this car's hurt him a little bit is like, he's very consistent.
Yeah.
But consistency isn't going to win you a championship in this format in this car.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Because like, the other thing too is everybody, like a lot of the Larson fans have said that, and like, all the 400 cars are still top 6 in points. Yes, Chase is 6th, and Byron, Larson, Bowman are 1, 2, 3. But like,
that's still the top 6.
It's just funny at this point of the talk of, well, who's warming the seat for who? Like,
yeah, it's one of those like, Hendrick is so good that like, when you're talking about the one that's on the hot seat, air quote, it's not like saying like, oh, like Daniel Suarez on the hot seat. Like, it's nothing compared to
or
that. Or
like Ty Gibbs is on an awful run right now, or like Bubba Wallace isn't getting the finishes and his teammate is. Like, you could take every driver at Hendrick and when their contract's up, and every team in NASCAR is going to call that person to try to get them on their team.
Yeah. if they have an open seat or someone who.
And I think Penske is almost the same way.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Cindric would be the
lowest
for calls, I would feel like,
but I don't even think that it would necessarily be a low, like
it's like Hendrick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he would still be getting calls, even though he is performing the least out of all of the Penske cars, which is just how it's been over the past few seasons. But I mean, to be fair, this is Cindric's third season, right? 2022 was his.
Yeah, he started with the next gen car started.
So,
then, he's 21st in points right now, Cindric.
If he didn't have that penalty, he'd be.
And Blaney and Logano are 10 and 11, and Barry's 12. So.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where both of those teams have such solid lineups that because I remember Hendrick in the 2010s, they weren't going to swap from Junior, Jimmy Johnson, Casey Kane, and Jeff Gordon.
Yeah.
Not that the drivers that Hendrick has now are exactly the same as then or whatever, but it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
You have 4 drivers that are probably not going anywhere, so all the Chevy development drivers are going to have to find other places to go.
Yeah. That's a tough place to be in for sure. But so Larson wins the race, which we said that already, but this is Larson's 14th win in the next-gen car and his 30th career overall.
And that moved him into... Well, I don't know if it moved him, but they were talking about how he's third all-time in wins for Hendrick.
Okay. Because one's Gordon.
Jeff, and then
no, one's not Gordon.
Gordon won more than Jimmy.
Okay, my bad.
Jimmy won more championships, but Gordon won more races.
You're right. I should know that.
Fake Gordon fan.
Shut up.
Confirmed.
Shut up. But so the fastest lap goes to Bubba Wallace. Your top 5 for this race was Larson, Bowman, Bubba, Briscoe, and then Hamlin. Briscoe running up in top 5 was interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that till I wrote down the top 5. I was like, didn't expect that.
I feel like that's where the move from Stuart Haas last year to Joe Gibbs this year is going to make the biggest difference.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's ever been bad at Miami, but some of the tracks where you just don't realize that he's actually pretty solid, you're going to start realizing now that he has a lot better equipment.
Yeah, definitely. Because there's no doubt he's in better equipment.
Yeah.
So that wraps up Cup for this week and wraps up Homestead for the spring, which they're not going back there. So Homestead for...
They're not going back there? I thought it was still in the playoffs.
Hold on.
Let me double check.
Sorry, I'm so used to them only having one.
No, you're right.
I was about to say
they moved it from the. Why'd they move it from the playoffs to?
Because it's going to be the championship next year.
Yeah,
that's what I think. I mean,
it makes the most sense.
Yeah,
but New Hampshire is in the. Never mind. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. So, on to Martinsville, the paperclip, the hot dog track.
Hot dog track.
Hot dogs. I want to go to Martinsville.
Yeah.
Get one of the hot dogs from there. Or 7. Who knows? We'll see where the day would take us. So, your past next-gen winners, 2022, you had Byron and Bell. 2023, you had Larson and Blaney. 2024, you had Byron and Blaney.
So Byron's 1-2, Blaney's 1-2 so far in the next gen.
So that last year for the spring, you had it was Hendrick's
40th anniversary. They all ran the ruby red paint schemes to commemorate it.
It's on the back of my shirt. You can see it. Yep. Yeah, so they ran 1, 2, 3, swept the podium, which we don't have a podium.
Yeah.
But if we had a podium, they would have swept it. And then in the fall, you had Blaney winning after coming off of losing Homestead on the last lap to Reddick.
Yeah, locking him into the championship 4 last year.
Which was awesome. I was very, very, very excited about that one.
I wasn't because I thought Chase had a good shot for a minute, but he faded late, and Blaney got him.
Blaney did get him. And that's the thing. Penske just knows when to get hot, and they do the thing.
Yeah, because the past two, because it's the last race before the championship race.
Mm-hmm.
So the last two, Blaney's won.
Yeah, last shot, they're good under pressure there. That's for sure. And Blaney's just good at Martinsville.
Yeah.
So Blake, who you got on picks for this week? We're running all 3 this week.
Yes. So trucks, I'm gonna go with Lane Riggs. He is a short track racer. Those were his roots. He's been running really good this year. It feels like everywhere. And I don't know. If I'm going to make the quote-unquote interesting pick and say Lane Riggs, and then by doing that, I'm saying that Byron doesn't win.
Okay.
If somebody's going to beat Byron there, I feel like it's probably going to be Lane Riggs or Corey Heim.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Gut says Lane Riggs.
Can't pick Corey Heim every single week.
You could.
You could. Technically, we don't have any rules to our picks or anything, but just for fun, don't pick him every week.
And then Xfinity, I'm going to pick Carson Quapfel. Changed it last minute.
Okay.
Again, short track racer. I think he's shown very good speed all this year. He doesn't have the results to show for the way he's been running for the most part. And I don't know. Just another gut thing.
Gotcha.
Plus, Junior Motorsports has been running good this year.
Yeah. No, they have. That's for sure.
And then Cup feels wrong to pick this because of the engine issues we've talked about and how he's only won in the playoffs there lately, but I'm going to say Blaney.
Good pick. That's it's going to be funny when I make my picks.
Yeah.
So, for truck, I'm going to say Byron wins. He's good at Martinsville.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't shock me if he goes out there and, somewhere to Larson. I don't think it's going to be a massacre, but I think he's,
he'll hang around.
He'll hang around and win. So for Xfinity, I'm going with our good old buddy Eric Almirola.
Boo.
I know, but when you sweep both races last year,
yeah,
it's hard not to go with you. And then for Cup, I'm going with Byron. Feels like this should be reverse. I should be picking Blaney, but just with Hendrick in the next gen car, Hendrick winning all of the spring races at Martinsville.
Yeah, we kind of went reverse on that.
Yeah, it goes Byron, Larson, Byron.
You went with history. I went against history.
Yeah. So yeah, William Byron winning the Cup race. So I think that Byron is going to do a 2 out of 3, which he's not running Xfinity, so he doesn't have the option to do, do the sweep. But
I wish which Corey Day is driving the 17 this weekend in Xfinity, which is good for him. But I wish Bowman was driving the 17 this weekend so he could just put Almirola in the wall at Martinsville.
Be great. Yeah, that's the only reason he
just
wants to run
petty.
Xfinity now. Yeah.
But being serious, though, for Cup, I do hope that they bring back the tires that they ran last fall.
Yeah.
Because, when the race was over, the cars, were just covered in rubber. They were wearing out so much. And that's what set up at the end. Chase got out to a lead but used his tires up more in the beginning. Blaney was saving tires. Blaney had more tire at the end so he could pass him. It just makes it a more – because, at a track that small, passing's not easy. You're going to have to use the bumper to pass. But then also, if you save your tires right and you have better tires than the guy in front of you, you have a better shot at passing him and running people down. It just makes it more interesting.
It's going to definitely be a tire management race, that's for sure.
I hope so.
I want to say I think that they are using that tire.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure on that.
I didn't see anything yet, like, confirming it, so I didn't know.
But I believe that's all we have for this week, correct?
Yeah.
Yep, that's it. So, I'm Justin.
I'm Blake.
And this has been the Checkered Chat. You guys can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, all that good stuff. And podcast comes out every Friday. Comes out on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcast, Amazon Podcast, Audible, all that good stuff. Pretty much everywhere you consume your podcast. And we will see you guys next week. Bye.